So as I was saying, the common theme is starting early, and that's what you're doing. By joining us today, this evening, taking some time out of your evening to sit with us, you are preparing yourself for the application process that will open on May 12th. And so let's kind of start with talking about who participates. There are over 700 US dental residencies, and most of them participate in ADEA PASS. If you are applying to programs that do not participate in ADEA PASS, you will have to apply to those programs directly. And so on the screen, what I wanted to show you is that on the American Dental Association website, they actually have a search for dental programs. And this is where you can see a full list of accredited dental programs. So in addition to that, on the ADEA website, we actually have what we call the ADEA Pass search engine, and I'm sure some of you are already familiar with this. This is a great place for you to start researching your programs. You will find a profile of each of your programs here with details on requirements and their website information, their contact information, and we're just going to go to I'll pull up a program just so we can look at a profile here. And so you'll see that they'll have the contact information, they'll have website links, deadline, lots of information, lots of requirements. So you want to take a look at these programs to see, to do some research on the programs that you will be applying to. I would say that if there are questions about the information that you find in the profiles, you want to contact the program directly because they are the ones that are responsible for keeping this information up to date, and they would have the answers for you regarding the requirements. Or if you find that you just have a question or need some clarity on something, you can definitely contact those programs. Also, while we're talking about information on the website, on the Ideapass homepage, we also have other resources. There is a video tutorial that you will see. It'll be something very similar to this. We are recording this as well this evening, so we will post this also. And so again, some of you may have already been on our website. And we also have something called the Ideapass Resident Library. And that is short video clips from residents who've gone through this process before that can offer some good advice to you on resume writing or the process of requesting your letters of recommendation, interview tips. There's some very encouraging and helpful videos that you will find there. So the application cycle will open on May 12th and close on February 7th, 2023. The application fees are $199 for the first program and $92 for each additional program. Once you have created an account and logged in, we're going to, and matter of fact, let me go here. And we're going to log into our test environment so that we can kind of walk through and see what you would see when you're creating this account. So once you've created an account and you've logged in, you'll come to this screen, which we call the dashboard, and it shows you the 4 sections in which you must complete information to submit your application. So the first 3 sections, the personal information, academic history, supporting information, I consider that the core application. That is what every applicant is going to complete for the overall ADEA Pass application. And then we'll get a little more into the program materials because that is a little different than the first 3 sections. So on this screen, you'll also see some tabs here. The Add Program. This is where you will find all of the participating programs and how you can select them to add them to your application. There's a search feature here. You can key in any keywords or program name, a state to narrow down your list. Otherwise, everything is listed here. And with over 700 programs, it is definitely a very long list. By clicking on My Application, it will take you back to that dashboard screen. And so overall, applicants apply to, on average, about 11 programs. And so when you're going through to add your programs there, that is where you will see that information. So on this dashboard screen, you can easily track the progress of your application. So you'll see these green markers here. It will help you determine how much of this section that you have already completed. Also on this screen, you'll see links to the Help Center. That will be very helpful. And I'll point out some other areas that you can also find links to the Help Center, as well as on our website. I would like to say that you can edit minimal information once your application has been submitted. So I encourage you to make sure that you read the instructions thoroughly and that you are proofreading all aspects of your application because you want it to present the best, give it the best presentation of you. So you don't want to make careless mistakes. You want to make sure that you take your time and make sure that you read through and proofread things before submitting this information. So let's begin with reviewing the 4 sections of the application, and we will start with the personal information section. So once you click into personal information, you will see a list of the different sections within that section, right? And so this particular section is a lot of background information about you. And so you want to make sure that you're going through entering information, and we'll just click on one. Entering all of the necessary information, you will see that some of the fields will have red asterisks, which means that these are required fields. And also within the section, you click on Applicant Help Center here, that will take you to the Applicant Help Center. And once you're within one of the screens, you'll notice that on the left-hand side, that you'll also see those individual sections, so you can kind of go back and forth wherever you see fit. I also like to point out on this particular section is that this is where you would enter your dental matching code. So if you are applying to a program that participates in the match, you will want to make sure that you enter your 5-digit match code here. It's important because that is how the programs know that you are have registered and obtained that code. So the dental match is a separate and distinct service from Ideapass, and it is administered by a different organization, and that organization is the National Matching Service. Not all Ideapass programs participate in match, and not all match programs participate in Ideapass. And so you can find out which programs participate in match by checking either the website, the Diapass website. We have the search engine. And so within the search engine, you will find, does your program participate in match? Yes or no. And so you will be able to identify that there. Also on the matching website, they also have a list of their participating programs. And I have quite a few screen links up open today. So I will make sure that we print I'm sorry, not print, that we will upload a resource document that has all of the links from today so that you make sure that you can get to the information all in one spot. I definitely encourage you to visit the National Matching Service website. They have a lot of useful information. Again, you're going to go there to register, and all of the aspects of the matching process will go through there. But within the ADEA PASS application, you will need to enter your match code number. So the next section is academic history. Here you want to be sure that you report all institutions attended. That would include your undergraduate, graduate, dental school, and your advanced dental education institutions. Official transcripts are required for your dental school attended, and no other official transcripts will be accepted. So if you attended a foreign dental school, a course-by-course evaluation completed by WES or ECE Credential Services is required. And so what happens is Ideapass will generate a transcript request form where excuse me, let me just, once you enter in your dental school attended, so in this particular section, let's just back up a little bit. In this particular section, you're going to enter all of those institutes. So your undergrad, your graduate, and your dental schools attended, right? But the official dental school transcript is the only one that is required for the ADEA PASS process. And so once you've entered a school that has a dental degree, you will see this download transcript request form. You want to utilize this form, print it out so that you can give it to the registered office. And that way they can mail your official document into our office. It has a unique barcode. It has your pass ID number, and it will help us to match that document up with your application once it's in our office. And you'll notice that other institutions, you won't see that download transcript request form. So we don't need any of those other transcripts, just the official dental school transcript. And again, if there is a foreign institution that you have attended dental school, you can order the WES or ECE evaluation. You can initiate that process directly from this screen. So also in this section, you will see that there are standardized tests. So you can, in this section, you can report your graduate record examination, your test of English as a foreign language, the advanced dental admission test, the National Board Dental Examination, the integrated National Board Dental Examination. So those items, those tests, and let's click here on your standardized test, those can be self-reported. So you can self-report those scores here. But additionally, in order to have your official scores submitted to our office, you would have to go to the ADA website or the ETS website to have the official scores initiated and sent into our office electronically. Both are necessary. So you want to keep in mind that self-reporting is not the same as submitting the official scores. And so self-reporting kind of gives the programs, they'll give them the scores initially if you haven't received those official scores by the time you submit it and they're looking at your application. So you want to do both to make sure that you have the most information available to the programs as they start to review, because some programs start their review early, some wait. So it really just depends. So I would definitely encourage you to make sure that you do both of these. So the next section is supporting information. So within this section, the applicant, you are allowed to enter your information about experiences, achievements, and licenses. Additionally, you will request your evaluations and upload a copy of your CV. You can also upload unofficial undergraduate transcripts. So Ideapass has two types of evaluations: the professional evaluation form and the institution evaluation form. All evaluations must be submitted electronically, so we do not accept any paper evaluations. They are all submitted electronically, and the process is initiated through your application. All evaluations will go to every program that you designate in your application. And so let's start with just talking about the difference in the two. So the professional evaluation, that is your traditional letter of recommendation. You'll also hear people refer to it as the PEF. You get a total of 3. So there are 3 required, but you can submit up to 5. Up to 5 is accepted. For the professional evaluators, they will comment on 10 different attributes. So there's integrity, professional demeanor, clinical skills, reaction to criticism, didactic knowledge, critical thinking, interpersonal skills, organizational skills, self-awareness, and maturity. And so they will also provide remarks on each of these attributes. And in addition to that, they will provide overall recommendation on your behalf. So you have these attributes that they will comment on, and then following that will be your traditional letter of recommendation. So moving on to the institution evaluation form, that is also known as the Dean's Letter or the IEF. This is completed by the Dean's Office, and it includes your class ranking and GPA if applicable, an evaluation of your ethical behavior, along with overall mandatory comments. And so again, after they've done the top portion of that with the scores and all of that, then the traditional recommendation letter will follow that. The institution evaluation is sent to every program that you apply to. So you only get one, it goes to every program. For your professional evaluations, if you have 3, those 3 go to all of your programs. If you have 5, those 5 go to all of your programs. And just so we can look on the screen here. So for the professional evaluation, I just want to kind of explain that, like I said, it's all electronic process. And so once you initiate, create your evaluation request, what you're going to do is enter in the evaluator's information. So it's going to ask you for their email address because the system is going to send them an email. You want to make sure that you have confirmed with the evaluator prior to submitting this that to obtain the email address that they are going to use for this, because it's based on the email address. So you don't want to send it to a request to an email that they aren't monitoring. And then it'll sit there, so that will delay the process. And then what may happen in turn is they'll ask you to go back and submit it to the appropriate one. So you're going to have to go back and delete one and add it again. And so that all that process is doing is delaying the process. So the evaluator, will receive an email, and the email will provide them with instructions on how to create an account and how to gain access to this. And they will be able to submit an evaluation electronically on your behalf that will get submitted directly to our office and become part of your application. So the institution evaluation is very similar, but the difference with that one is the accounts for all US and some international institutions, they're all pre-populated. So you're going to select your dental school from the drop-down list. And once you find your dental school in the drop-down list, you'll select it. Some of the information will already be pre-populated. So it's going to go to the person on file that monitors this particular email address. And that's all that you would have to do. When it says due date here, you just want to make sure that you're providing a realistic date. You want to check your earliest deadline. So your earliest deadline, you want to make sure that you're getting these documents in, because everything has to be, all of your documents have to be complete in order to complete your overall application. So that's the first 3 sections. So we went over the personal information, the academic history, the supporting information, which I call the core application. Now we're going to move on to the program materials section. In this section, each program selected will have a specific section for you to upload your personal statement and possibly some additional documents and questions to answer. When uploading your personal statement, be sure to review the screen instructions, as some programs may indicate a specific topic that they would like for you to address in your personal statement. You have the ability to, you have the ability to submit the same personal statement for every program that you're applying to, or you can customize and create separate essays for the different programs that you are applying to. And so this would be an upload. And sometimes there are instructions here, like you see for this particular document here. I just want to let you know that while all the programs can see all of the information in those first 3 sections, but in this particular section, it is a program by program basis. So anything that you enter in the program material section is only for this specific program, and no other program can see the information that you post here. So this is the document section in this particular example, and then sometimes you will see additional questions as well. And so this program materials section will have to be completed for each one of the programs that you are applying to. So each one of them will have this. section here. And sometimes it's just a personal statement that you will have to do, and other times there will be more information, as you saw on some of the examples here. So as you complete each section of the application, again, we talked about those green markers. So that's how you can see what's been fulfilled. So that will help you with the sections. Once you have all of the green markers have been fulfilled for each one of them, you are able to submit your application. And again, you in the program materials section, you can submit those as they become complete. You also want to make sure that you monitor your application status on the Check Status tab. Here you will ensure that all of your transcripts, your evaluations, and your official test scores have been received. So you will be able to monitor the status of the information that's coming into the office. If you have questions as you move through the application, you do have the tutorial. If you want, something here that you think, maybe I can go back and listen to that again, that might be helpful. So there will be a recording on our website. There's also the other tutorial that remains there. You have your help center. And then we also have a customer service department. And so you can always email or call the customer service department with specific questions about the application process. When it comes to certain things that is very specific to the particular program that you are applying to, I want to refer you back to them. So looking at their contact information in the in the search engine profile. So you can contact the program if you do have questions and need clarification on what their requirements are. So this concludes my presentation today. Let me stop sharing here. There we go. So this concludes my presentation today. Remember that all of this information is on the ADEA PASS website, as well as this presentation will be on here as well. My colleague, Emily Reinberger, has been monitoring the questions that have come into the chat. She may have responded to some of them, some of you directly, but right now we're going to start to go over some of the questions. And so, Emily, if you could just let me know what the first one is.
Sure, Yolanda, thank you so much. There has been a lot of questions about where exactly this recording is going to be posted. Can you clarify where on the ADEA website it will go?
Absolutely. So on the ADEA website, let's see, let's click here and I can share my screen again. All right, you can see my screen again. So on the ADEA website, when you go to the ADEA PASS section of the website, there's a section for applicants. And so this presentation will get posted here. And so right now, this is the tutorial that's up, but this particular one is a live session. It'll have the question and answers at the end. So we will also make sure that we have this along with the resource that has the links that we've been going over today. I'll put them all in one document and they will be there.
Thanks, Yolanda. The next question is, can I submit information after I submit the application? And do I need to let the programs know that the information has been updated?
So that's a very good question. Certain things, like I know something that I didn't mention, like with the resume, if you have an updated resume. So in order to submit your application, some of the information is required right on the spot. And the resume is one of those items. And so if you've done something else later and you feel the need to update that information, then yes, there is the ability to update your resume. Or if you didn't submit all of your unofficial undergraduate transcripts, because that is not required for the PASS application. It is an optional feature. You can submit that at a later date. When we talk about some of the fields like the achievements or things, the information in some of those, license achievements, those kinds of areas, you cannot edit what you have submitted, but you can go back and add at a later date. I would say that programs receive notifications about updates, but I think that it would be best to make sure that, especially if it's something very substantial, that you would notify them. And there are times where a program will reach out to you asking for this particular information. And so they're already going to be on the lookout for it anyway.
Thanks, Yolanda. The next question has a blank, a fill your own adventure. Do I need to submit blank? So I've seen a variety of questions. Do I need to submit the ADEP? Do I need to submit the GRE? And do I need to submit the TOEFL? Can you discuss those?
Absolutely. So in the program search engine profiles, you will see that programs will require, they will say if they require these particular items. And sometimes that, I guess, can get a little tricky, right? Because if you're applying to one program that requires it and another that does not, you're still going to have to submit that information. So I think it's a good thing to kind of organize the programs that you're applying to and figure out what they're requiring to make sure that you submit everything that's needed for the application.
Thank you again. Another question about, can the program see where else I have applied?
Absolutely not. So those first three sections, that is the same basic information. I call it not necessarily basic, but I call it the core application. And so that is the same for every program. It's the same name and achievements and all of those kinds of things. But anything in that program material section, they will only see that information, and no program will see that you have where you have applied, where else you have applied.
Yolanda, a few questions about either starting the application in the last cycle or being a reapplicant. What information can be used, if any, in the new cycle?
So in the new cycle, there is a reapplicant feature. Once you initiate that, the system will walk you through what can be, it's going to ask you, what information that you want retained. But that will be kind of the information from the core application, but your evaluations, your dental school transcript, those documents cannot be carried over. So you would have to obtain those documents again.
A few questions about transcripts. Can or should I send in transcripts from non-dental school programs?
No, you don't want to send those transcripts into the office because we will not process them. We will only process the official dental school transcript. Now, there is space in the application for you to not self-report, for you to upload an applicant version of your undergraduate transcripts. So, but it is not a required field. So the system's not going to require you to do so. But you do not want to mail them into our office because we will not process them.
A question about national board scores. If the boards are being taken in August, will the application be considered incomplete if I submit before then?
So no, your application will not be considered incomplete. So you can actually, that is something that you can submit your application without. And so you can self-report, right? You can self-report your information, but the official scores, you can go ahead and start that process and we will receive them. It will not be considered incomplete to pass. Now, you have to make sure that you are doing things in a timely manner to ensure that things are received at programs by their deadlines.
And can an applicant submit before their letters of evaluation are received?
Absolutely. So part of being able to submit is actually submitting that request, right? So once you've put in the initial request, that is you have kind of fulfilled what you need to in order to submit for the ADEA PASS application process. But in order to make your application complete overall, so it'll go into a received status, so meaning there is something missing, and so that status won't change over to complete until all your required evaluation. So that's all of your professional evaluations, your institution evaluation, your official dental school transcript. All of those items have to be received in order to mark your application as complete.
For applicants who are educated internationally, is the WES or the ECE required? And what if I need to waive it? Can you describe that process?
So yes, it is required. And on that screen, we talked about the dental school transcript, the dental school attendance, excuse me. When you enter that, you will see on the screen that you can initiate the process for obtaining that ECE or that WES evaluation to be included with your application. And you do have to, that is a requirement.
Yolanda, if somebody submitted test scores last cycle, will that information carry over?
That is a great question. And Emily, at the moment, I cannot remember. Do you recall if they still transfer over for the test scores?
I believe they do, but we can double check and post that along with this video once we've verified the answer.
Thank you so much.
Can you explain again the difference between Ideapass and the match?
Yes. So Ideapass, that is the application process, right? So that is your overall application that is going to be sent to the programs that you are interested in, right? That you're going to apply to. And for the match process, that is more of the ranking process, right? So that's after interviews and all of that, you're going to rank, I'm sorry, you are going to rank your programs, right? So this is after the interview process. You're going to rank your programs, and programs are going to do the same thing, and they're going to rank their applicants, and they have this algorithm that goes on, and then the information is released on the match release dates. And that's how you know that you are matched with a program. So Ideapass is the application. And so the match is the placement, right? So after the interview and after the placement, and that's a really good question. And I'm glad you brought that up, because there's something else that I like to mention is that when you're going through the ranking process, right? So you're doing your interviews and you're interested in this program, you go on an interview, and then once you go on an interview, for whatever reason, right, you feel like this particular program is not a right fit for me. That is important. That is very important, that once you start that part of the process, that if you feel that way, you don't want to rank that, you don't want to add that program to your rank order list, because there's a chance, right, that you can get matched to that program. And if that is the case, match is a legally binding agreement. And so you have to obtain that position. So you really want to think about that as you're going through the interviews and thinking about where you're applying.
Yolanda, can somebody start their application now?
No, you cannot start your application now. On May 12th, that is when the new application cycle will open. And on that day, you will be able to create an account and start working on your application.
Yolanda, is there a way for somebody to determine if a program accepts an internationally educated dentist?
That is a great question. So that is a pretty tricky, we have learned that is, it's not an easy yes, no answer, right? In the search engine, there is, let me just share my screen again. So in the search engine, because we've definitely been hearing about this, and we want to do what we can to help the applicants as well as the programs. And so if you'll see here, we've added some new attributes, and one of them has applicants without US dental degrees. So they can indicate if they will accept this or not. and then it also has eligibility. So you want to pay attention to that when you're looking at the search engine profiles. And some of them will say contact program because it may be a bit more of a complex answer to that. There may be, if you did this, then this kind of thing. So I think that you should definitely check out those fields while you're researching the programs. This is a new field this year. And so we're working to try and get all programs to update it. Right now, we know that some have not. And so I am going to work with them to get them to update this information. Any programs that currently doesn't have the information, I'm going to work with them so that we can try and post a list to make it a little easier to pull, because right now this information is not searchable with the filters. It makes it a little complex to go through. It's a lot of programs, a lot of information. And so it is there, but there is still some digging that you have to do. And we are aware of it in the office, and we are trying to do some things to provide some better resources to help you out with that, because I realize that it can be very cumbersome.
Yolanda, at what point in the process does a program see an application? Is it once it's submitted or once all of the materials, including letters of recommendation, are submitted?
So once the application is submitted, the program can see your application and they can see what you have submitted and what is missing.
So Yolanda, there are continued questions about the reapplicant process. I don't know if you want to address that one more time.
Sure. So let's see. Yeah, I don't think it's going to let me see. I can show you this, but it's not a whole lot of information. So on the login screen, instead of clicking on create an account, you can click on reapplying to Ideapass. And so once you start to initiate that process, and I apologize, it's kind of been a while, but if I recall correctly, is that you will have to use your previous username and password, and that will gain you access to the application. And then you will get prompted, right? It will give you like some checklists that you'll have to click on to say, I want to carry this over, I want to carry this over or not. And then the system, once you're finished and submit, the system will initiate that process and it'll let you know it'll take some time. You will receive an email when it is ready, and you'll be able to log into the application. And then at that point, you can edit and go through, and the system's going to make you actually confirm the information in each of the sections. So if there is information that needs to be updated, then you would do that. And so within that process, keep in mind, though, you still have to submit all new evaluations and official dental school transcripts. And I hope that helped.
Can you describe the difference between a Diacaped and a Ideapass?
So a Diacaped is for internationally trained dentists that are seeking licensure, right? And so pass is when when you are applying to an advanced dental education program, so doing a residency. And Emily, feel free to elaborate on that if you have some other information that would be helpful.
Sure. So if a student is seeking a DDS or a DMD, they would apply to a Diacaped. If they're seeking a residency, they would apply to a Ideapass.
Thank you.
A couple of questions about adding the match code. Is it required to add the match code? I think there's a couple of questions that registration for match is closed right now because it doesn't open until later in the year. So is it required that somebody come back and add in a match code, and how does that work?
Absolutely. So I do believe that match will open on the 12th along with us. So correct, we're both closed right now. And the match code number is not a required field in the application per se. However, if you are applying to any programs that participate in match, I strongly encourage you to make sure that you enter that match code number, because that is how the programs know that you have registered and you have fulfilled that requirement for them.
Yolanda, the National Matching Service will open for registration in August, is what their website says. So the applicants would have to come back after they've submitted to update their code if they choose to do that.
Absolutely. So it's like I said, it's an optional field. So if you don't have it in the beginning, once you've done that, then you can at a later date, yes, go back to add that information to your application.
Another question for internationally educated dentists. They've attended dental school twice, once internationally, once in the US. Do they submit both dental school transcripts?
Yes, you would submit both dental school transcripts. You'll notice on that dental school attended screen, when you're entering your colleges attended, that you will see that transcript request form for both of those dental schools, because you're going to enter that dental degree there. So that button will populate for you to print a transcript request form for both of them.
I hope I've covered everybody's question. I know they were coming in fast. If I did not cover your question, if you could add it back into the chat, that would be really helpful. So another match question, can you submit your Ideapass application before you register for the match?
Yes, you can.
Yolanda, at what time on May 12th does the application open?
I think that's the $1 million question. So no, usually it is somewhere before noon on that day.
Hi, Yolanda.
Hi.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Hi.
Yes, as a foreign trained dentist and a reapplicant, do I still need to resubmit the ECE and WES evaluation for my dental degree?
Yes, you would still need to submit that for your dental degree.
Even if I submitted them last cycle?
Yes.
So I have to do the process again. I have to send the transcripts to the ECE and or the WES to get the evaluation electronically submitted to you guys.
Yes, you will have to submit that transcript again.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
There's been a couple of questions about if somebody needs to submit both an ECE and a WES, or how do they pick which one?
So usually I don't see a lot of programs indicate which they prefer. So I would say to make sure that you are checking the website, checking their profiles to see if they prefer one or the other. And if that is the case, right, maybe you have one program that wants one and one that prefers another, you can submit them both. That is okay.
If somebody attended a school for anything beside dental school, so an internship, an undergraduate, should they send in transcripts?
No, you don't want to send in transcripts for any of those other things, only for the dental school transcript. For the official dental school transcript. And the undergraduate can be uploaded in your application by you.
For a reapplicant, can they open an application before May 12th, or is that for everyone?
That is for everyone. That date is for everyone. So you cannot, no one can initiate an application, not even me, before May 12th.
Yolanda?
Yes.
Yeah, you told me to, I have to resubmit to the ECE and WES evaluation for my transcript as a reapplicant. So since they are the same, why should I resubmit them again?
I'm sorry, you said if they are the same?
Yeah, they are the same degree that I submitted for the last cycle. So why should I resubmit them?
Right, because the documents don't carry over in the with the reapplicant process.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yolanda, can somebody delete a test score once it's been added to their application?
No, you cannot.
And can you share how somebody might submit a CBSE score if they're applying to oral surgery programs?
Oh, that is a great question. So in that program materials section, the tab labeled documents, where I showed you the personal statement will be listed. For the oral surgery programs, you will also see something there where you can upload a copy of your CBSE score report. And so that will be in the program materials section. And so it will be for each program. So you would have to upload that information individually for each one of the programs that requires that information.
Hi, Yolanda. Sorry, I have one question. If I already took the ADEA test and I apply to a program, if I retake the test later, will they receive the new result, or the application will stay with the result the result that I had when I applied?
Yes, so if you take it again, then both results will show in the application.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so I know we're approaching our time. We might have another moment for maybe one or two. Do we have maybe one or two more questions that we can address before our time is up, Emily?
Yolanda, to be honest, the questions are starting to repeat themselves about transcripts and if information needs to be submitted before the applicant submits or after. And I think we've addressed those questions already.
Okay.
I don't see any new questions.
Okay, and just kind of to speak on that one more time before we end our call is that you can submit your documents. I'm sorry, you can submit your application and those documents can come in afterwards. And that being the official dental school transcript, as well as your professional evaluation and your institution evaluation. So those can all come into complete the application after you have already submitted. And
Ms. Yolanda?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, sorry. Before I lose the timing to ask one more question. So our school is not letting us take, so we're the first class that's going to take the integrated boards, and our school is not officially letting us to take it until November or December of our D4 year. So so I guess my question is, can we still apply through ADEPASS without taking the integrated board or without having the scores for integrated boards?
Yes, you can still apply, start on your application, even submit your application, and those scores can come along later. That is okay.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well.
Hello, Yolanda. How are you? This is Dr. Masaade. I'm from Saudi Arabia. It's pretty late in here. I have a
Oh,
question.
no.
I submitted my ECE evaluation in this March for the first time. I didn't apply before. So do I need to submit the ECE evaluation again when the cycle open?
So when you say you submitted them, so you received a copy of them?
Yes. I did the ECE evaluation and I asked the ECE to send a copy to Ideapass and they sent it. And I got an email from Idea that they received the ECE evaluation, but I didn't apply before. I just sent them in mid-March. I didn't know the cycle, it closes in this period. Later, I understood that system because I read it all over again. So my question, do I need to submit them again or will they be there when the cycle open?
So for your circumstance, I would encourage you to contact the customer service department because I'm not 100% sure, right? So you need to find out because it came during an off-peak season. And so I would suggest you contact the program contact the customer service department to let them know what the situation is and ask their advice or if they can confirm that it's been received and will match up. I think you should contact them directly in order to make sure that that's clear because I don't want to tell you to do it again if you don't need to.
Oh, thank you very much. It's very helpful. And thank you for the information you gave us today. They were pretty handful for a lot of us. Have a good day.
You too. Well, this will conclude our presentation for this evening. I thank you so much for joining us. You had a lot of great questions. I'm sorry, I know we may have missed some. It's a lot coming in, a lot going on. I would encourage you to contact the customer service department. They can answer all of these questions as well. We will upload a copy of this presentation along with those resources. Again, I would like to thank you and wish you all the best success in your application process and have an amazing evening. Thank you.